Greetings, seekers of truth and liberation. Today, we explore a concept that may shake the very foundations of your reality, the idea that we are living in a simulation and how to exit it using the teachings of Neville Goddard. This journey will challenge your perceptions, expand your consciousness, and potentially set you free from the constraints of this illusory world. The notion that our reality is a simulation isn't new. From ancient philosophies to modern scientific theories, many have suggested that what we perceive as real might be a construct, a grand illusion. But what if this simulation isn't just a passive experience? What if we have the power to influence it, to reshape it, and ultimately to transcend it? Neville Goddard, a pioneering spiritual teacher of the 20th century, didn't use the term simulation, but his teachings align remarkably well with this concept. He proposed that our external reality is a projection of our consciousness, that our imagination is the creative force shaping our world, and that by mastering our inner state, we can transform our outer experience. Let's begin by examining the nature of this simulation. Look around you. What do you see? Objects, people, spaces, all seemingly solid and real. But quantum physics tells us that at the most fundamental level, everything is energy and information. Your senses interpret this energy, creating the illusion of a solid, separate world. But what if your senses are simply the interface through which you interact with the simulation? Goddard taught that imagination creates reality. In the context of a simulation, this takes on a new meaning. Your thoughts, beliefs, and especially your imagination are the code that programs your experience. Every assumption you hold about yourself and the world becomes a parameter in this grand program, shaping the reality you perceive. But here's where it gets interesting. If this is a simulation and your consciousness is the programmer, then you have the power to change the program. You're not just a character in the game, you're the player, the developer, and the game itself. Goddard's technique of living in the end becomes a powerful tool for exiting the simulation. This practice involves immersing yourself in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, as if it's already real. In simulation terms, you're rewriting the code of your reality by changing your inner state. Consider this. Have you ever had a vivid dream where you believed everything was real, only to wake up and realize it was all in your mind? What if our waking reality is just a more persistent dream? The exit from the simulation might not be a physical escape, but an awakening to our true nature as the dreamer.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Goddard emphasized the importance of feeling. He said, "Feel yourself into the state of the wish fulfilled." In the context of exiting the simulation, this means feeling yourself into the state of being awake, aware, and free from the illusion. It's not about physically leaving this world, but about transcending its limitations within your consciousness. One of Goddard's core teachings was I am. He taught that whatever follows I am in your thoughts and feelings becomes your reality. In the simulation framework, I am is like the root access code to the system. By consciously choosing what follows I am, you're reprogramming the fundamental parameters of your simulated experience. As we navigate this simulated reality, it's crucial to understand that everyone and everything you perceive is a reflection of your consciousness. The simulation isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. This realization is both empowering and challenging. It means you have the power to change everything, but it also means taking full responsibility for your experience. Goddard often spoke about the law of assumption. In our simulation context, this law becomes the governing principle of our virtual reality. Whatever you assume to be true becomes the foundation of your experience. By consciously choosing your assumptions, you're essentially selecting which version of the simulation you want to experience. As we conclude this first part of our exploration, I invite you to pause and reflect. How does the idea that you're in a simulation resonate with you? What aspects of your reality have you been accepting as fixed that might actually be fluid and changeable? Remember, the first step in exiting the simulation is recognizing that you're in one. The Architect's Blueprint: Recoding Your Simulated Reality. As we continue our journey into the depths of this simulated reality, we now turn our attention to the practical application of Neville Goddard's teachings within this framework. We stand at the threshold of profound transformation, armed with the knowledge that we are not mere players in this grand illusion, but the architects of our experience. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is a quantum supercomputer, running the most advanced simulation software ever conceived. Every thought, every belief, every emotion you experience is a line of code in this vast program. The world you perceive is the output of this intricate system. Now, with this understanding, we can begin to intentionally rewrite the code of our reality. Goddard spoke often of the power of imagination, calling it the very gateway of reality. In our simulation model, imagination becomes the development environment where we craft new realities before implementing them in our lived experience. When you engage your imagination, you're not merely daydreaming, you're prototyping new versions of your simulated world. Let's explore a practical technique for harnessing this power. Close your eyes and imagine a scene that implies your desired reality has already manifested. Make it as vivid and detailed as possible. Engage all your senses. What do you see? What sounds surround you? What textures can you feel? What scents waft through the air? As you immerse yourself in this imaginal act, you're literally programming new parameters into your simulation. But here's the crucial part. It's not enough to simply visualize. You must feel the reality of your imagined scene. Goddard emphasized the importance of feeling, stating, "Feel as intensely as possible the reality of the state sought." In our simulation context, these feelings are the energy that powers the manifestation of your new code. Consider this. Have you ever noticed how your emotional state seems to attract corresponding experiences? When you're in a bad mood, more frustrating events seem to occur. When you're joyful, the world appears brighter and more welcoming. This is the simulation responding to your emotional input. By consciously cultivating the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you're sending powerful commands to the system. One of Goddard's most potent techniques was what he called revision. This practice involves mentally rewriting past events to align with your desired reality. In the context of our simulation theory, revision becomes a method of debugging and optimizing your program. By revising past events, you're not changing history. You're reconfiguring the data that informs your present and future experiences. To practice revision, identify a past event that you wish had gone differently. Close your eyes and replay the scene in your mind, but this time, change the outcome to match your desire. Experience this new version as vividly as if it had actually happened. Feel the relief, joy, or satisfaction of this revised event. By doing this, you're retroactively altering the code that shapes your current reality. Another powerful concept in Goddard's teachings is the idea of living from the end. This means adopting the mindset and behaviors of someone who already has what you desire. In our simulation framework, this is akin to running a new program in beta mode. You're testing out a new version of reality by fully embodying it in your thoughts, feelings, and actions. To implement this, ask yourself, if I already had my desire fulfilled, how would I think? How would I feel? How would I behave? Then start living from that place. This isn't about pretending or faking it. It's about aligning your entire being with the reality you wish to experience. As you do this, you'll find the simulation begins to reflect back this new version of yourself. Goddard often spoke about the power of "I remember when." This technique involves creating a future memory of your desire fulfilled. Instead of hoping for something to happen, you recall it as if it's already occurred. In our simulation model, this is like creating a save point in the future and then working backwards to align current events with that predetermined outcome. Try this. State your desire as a past event. For example, I remember when I first realized I was financially free. Then, fill in the details of this memory. What led up to this realization? How did it feel? What changed in your life as a result? By creating these future memories, you're programming checkpoints into your simulation that your current reality will inevitably align with. As we navigate this simulated reality, it's crucial to maintain awareness of your thoughts and feelings. These are the constant inputs that shape your experience. Goddard taught that attention is the key to manifestation. In our simulation context, your attention is like a cursor, highlighting and activating different aspects of the program. Where you place your attention determines which parts of the simulation become prominent in your experience. This brings us to a profound question. If your reality is a reflection of your consciousness, and you have the power to shape that consciousness, what kind of world do you want to create? What version of the simulation do you want to experience? The responsibility and power are yours. As we conclude this section, take a moment to reflect on the immense potential that lies within you. You are not just a character in this simulated reality. You are the programmer, the player, and the game itself. With every thought, every feeling, every imaginal act, you are recoding your world. What will you create? The quantum leap, transcending the boundaries of simulated reality. As we delve deeper into the nature of our simulated reality and the teachings of Neville Goddard, we encounter a profound paradox. The more we recognize the illusory nature of our world, the more real our creative power becomes. This realization marks a quantum leap in our consciousness, propelling us towards true liberation. Goddard often spoke of the promise, a state of divine union where we recognize our oneness with the creative force of the universe. In the context of our simulation theory, this promise represents the ultimate cheat code, the realization that we are not separate from the system, but the system itself. To access this state, we must transcend the limitations of our individual avatar and tap into the underlying consciousness that powers the entire simulation. This is not achieved through force or struggle, but through surrender and acceptance. By letting go of our attachment to the character we've been playing, we open ourselves to the infinite possibilities of the larger game. One powerful technique for facilitating this shift is what Goddard called the state akin to sleep. This is a state of deep relaxation where the conscious mind becomes quiet, allowing us to access the subconscious, or, in our simulation terms, the root directory of our program. In this state, we can more easily reprogram our core beliefs and assumptions about reality. To practice this, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and relax your body completely. As you drift into a state between waking and sleeping, hold in your mind the idea of your desired reality. Don't force it. Simply allow it to float in your consciousness. In this receptive state, you're bypassing the firewalls of your conscious mind and directly uploading new data to your subconscious. As you begin to experience shifts in your reality, you may encounter resistance from others in your simulation. Remember, everyone you perceive is a reflection of your consciousness. Their resistance is merely your own doubts and limiting beliefs mirrored back to you. Instead of fighting against this resistance, see it as valuable feedback, highlighting areas where your inner programming still needs adjustment. The ultimate goal in exiting the simulation is not to escape from the world, but to awaken within it. It's about recognizing that you are not trapped in the simulation, but that you are the dreamer of the dream. This awakening brings with it a profound sense of freedom and responsibility. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, but the author of your experience. As we approach the end of this segment, consider this. If you could design any reality you wanted, what would it look like? What kind of world would you create? Remember, in this simulated reality, the only limits are those you choose to accept. Your imagination is the blueprint, your feelings are the building materials, and your awareness is the construction crew. In our final segment, we'll explore the ultimate implications of this awakening and how to navigate the expanded reality that unfolds as you step fully into your role as the architect of your experience. The Infinite Game, Mastering Reality, Beyond the Simulation. As we reach the pinnacle of our exploration into the simulated nature of reality and the teachings of Neville Goddard, we stand at the threshold of infinite possibilities. We've discovered that exiting the simulation isn't about escaping, but about fully awakening within it, recognizing our true nature as the creators of our experience. In this final stage of awakening, we transcend the concept of a finite game with a clear endpoint. Instead, we enter what we might call the infinite game. Here, the goal isn't to win or to reach a final destination, but to continually expand, create, and express the infinite potential within us. In this infinite game, every moment becomes an opportunity for creation. Every challenge becomes a canvas for transformation. We no longer seek to manipulate the simulation to achieve specific outcomes. Instead, we align ourselves with the flow of creative consciousness, allowing it to express itself through us in ever more expansive ways. Goddard spoke of the law of reversibility, which in our context takes on a profound new meaning. Just as our inner state creates our outer reality, our interaction with the outer world can be used to transform our inner state. This creates a feedback loop of constant growth and evolution. By consciously engaging with our simulated reality, we're not just changing the program, we're evolving the programmer. In this advanced state of play, synchronicities become commonplace. What once seemed like coincidences now reveal themselves as the intelligent orchestration of the universe, or in our model, the intricate workings of the simulation responding to our deepened awareness. These synchronicities serve as signposts, guiding us towards greater alignment with our true nature as infinite creators. As masters of this infinite game, we learn to hold multiple realities simultaneously. We can fully embrace our current experience while also holding space for new possibilities. This multidimensional awareness allows us to navigate the simulation with grace and fluidity, unattached to outcomes yet fully engaged in the creative process. One of the most profound aspects of this awakened state is the dissolution of the ego self. As we recognize our true nature as the consciousness underlying the entire simulation, our attachment to our individual avatar loosens. We begin to experience ourselves as the awareness in which all experiences arise, rather than as a separate entity having experiences. This shift in identity brings with it a deep sense of peace and freedom. The fears and anxieties that once drove our actions fall away, replaced by a trusting acceptance of the unfolding of life. We no longer need to control the simulation because we recognize ourselves as the source of all that is. In this state of mastery, we become conscious co-creators with the universe. Our desires and intentions arise not from lack or need, but from a joyful impulse to express and expand. We create not to fix or improve, but to explore and experience the infinite potential of consciousness. As we conclude our journey, remember that awakening is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of deepening awareness and expanding consciousness. Each moment offers a new opportunity to choose love over fear, creation over reaction, awareness over unconsciousness. You are the dreamer of this grand dream, the player of this infinite game, the coder of this cosmic simulation. As you step fully into this truth, you liberate yourself from the limitations of the simulated reality and open to the boundless potential of your true nature. What will you create in this infinite game? How will you express the limitless consciousness that you are? The simulation awaits your command, eager to reflect back to you the magnificence of your awakened state. Play wisely, create joyfully, and always remember, you are the ultimate architect of your reality.